Obviously, you're still working in the scoring industry, but you're also still playing in a rock band, right? So what's the best way people can go ahead and support what it is that you do musically now?
I'm playing in one, two, three. I thought it was three, and I'm playing in two rock bands at least. No, three. I'm with two rock bands. What am I saying? I'm playing and I'm playing in a band called Jackio, which you're not going to be able to see because we just play bars, and there aren't going to be a lot of bar performances lately.
Well, I've been able to see them because people who I know were taking recordings with their phones. But
yeah, actually, it's funny. We have a lot of animators who come in to anyway.
Oh, really?
Jackio, yeah. That's with a wonderful guitar player Ira Ingber, and John Avila from Oingo Boingo, and a drummer named David Raven. And they're just, like I was saying earlier before we started this, that the whole joy of music has come back to me in playing with other musicians, and the nonverbal communication that happens even when you're playing something simple. It just it happens, which isn't going to be happening for a while apparently. So Jackio. Then I also play with a band I wrote when I was in 14. I wrote songs for this band called Strawberry Alarm Clock that had a record out in 68. I think it was Incense of Peppermints. They had kind of a one-hit wonder, and they had a few others, Tomorrow and Barefoot in Baltimore. I think those are those three radio hits back. Wait, this is 68, 9. And I wrote songs with a neighbor, and they used my songs. And I played flute on that album. So that there was my big moment of being a flute player on record.
Oh, wow.
They've gotten back together for a big concert about 10 years ago. And anyway, I got involved and produced a record with them about 4 or 5 years ago. And I still play with them. We were supposed to play at the Whiskey A Go-Go on July 11th or something like that, which obviously is not happening. And then I play with Johnny Vatos, the drummer from Oingo Boingo. It started out as his project to keep the music alive, and we do it once a year with Bear McCreary, who writes for TV and movies, and his brother, who goes by Brendan McKeon now, is the lead singer, and he's a wonderful singer. And so we do old Boingo stuff, and we've been doing it. John's been doing it more and more, and getting it to where in May we do a bunch of shows, and in October do a bunch of Halloween shows, and May was Cinco de Mayo shows, and those have been a blast because it's playing all the music that I played in the 80s. So that's three. That's my three bands.
There you go. So people can, to support you, they can go and they can look into these.
Yeah, I'm kind of proud of the performance of the last Oingo Boingo farewell tour too. I think the band was actually really good.
It was fantastic, and I will say there's a lot of us wondering if there's ever going to be a Blu-ray remastered edition of that.
I'll ask Laura, the manager. That's good. I didn't realize it's not. I have a VHS copy over there.
I have a DVD copy of it and a VHS somewhere. But no, yeah, I think we'd all love that. I love watching the early behind the scenes stuff of Mystic Knights stuff. I mean, really just fantastic.
Somewhere there's these old Mystic Knights films from a show in San Francisco that are just, I mean, they sound awful because they're recorded.
Sure.
But it's just.
But they're still cool to look at, and there's actually a pretty big interest in remastering songs that didn't make it to those albums. By the way, just as an aside, I'm just letting you know there is a big desire to see those songs released as a sort of like B-side.
There was talk, actually, Bear McCreary was when he first signed with the same agent Danny has, maybe 5-8 years ago. One of his pet projects was to try to get that going, things that weren't released that existed, but it kind of fell by the wayside because he got really busy.
Okay. Or things that were released, but they were only released on soundtrack albums.
Mm-hmm.
There's anyway, just
or charity albums.
Or charity albums.
Yeah, we did two. There were two songs that were only on a charity album. One was "Take Your Medicine." The other was.
Oh, okay.
I think I Stand Defeated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Stand Defeated. That has studio recording.
Well, okay, I'll tell you this. I
probably won't use this in the show, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's good. We were recording Dead Man's Party, and actually at the beginning we started with this one engineer I forget the name of the main engineer, but the main engineer showed up the first day, set it all up, and then he disappeared for 2 days. It turned out he had disappeared because he was going to do a project with Barbra Streisand.
Oh.
So he chose Barbra Streisand out of staying, and actually, so we fired him and hired the second engineer, who then ended up being our engineer till Bill Jackson. He's been our engineer since then. And at some point, the record company, there was some tension about staying with the record company right then.
Oh.
I think we had just signed to them, and this is the part that I don't know the details, because Danny was actually, as the band leader, was under most of the pressure to take care of those details before it got to us. But after we had recorded 4 or 5 songs that we were really proud of for Dead Man's Party, and then the idea of having to give that to the record company if we were going to get dropped was kind of awful. So we quick recorded 4 or 5 other songs, almost practically live in the studio. Stand Defeated, Take Your Medicine, and there were 2 others that we were all in there. The horns were in a booth behind it was a really tiny studio in Hollywood, the Sound Factory. It's more conducive to things. I think Led Zeppelin recorded something in there. It's a small studio, but we crammed everybody in, and we played down these songs, which is why those I Stand Defeated. It is a studio recording of some sort, but it was played live.
Interesting, but wasn't ever like mastered in that kind of thing.
No, Take Your Medicine was mastered for that charity thing, but it was all after the fact. It's like, do you have something you could give, you could have for the charity? It's like, oh yeah, we've got these. After all that other stuff blew through and we finished.
Oh, interesting. That's so funny.